It's the King of Wishful Thinking by Go West from the Pretty Woman original motion picture soundtrack. My guest of the day is in studio. She's Usha Banerji. She's CEO of St. Jude India Childcare Centers. First and foremost, wonderful to see you, ma'am. How are you doing?
Doing extremely well and extremely happy to be on the show. It's great to be on the other side of the mic when I listen to you most mornings when I get to work.
And I'm very, very touched that you've brought me these two lovely paper flowers. Are these made by the kids?
These are made by the kids and their parents. They stay at our centers. And one of the many things we teach them is, I think, it works both ways. It's a skill they learn. It's de-stressing. And I think it makes a lovely conversation piece with our visitors.
Lovely. We're also going to try and do some pictures on social media and put them up so that our listeners can get to see this. So let's start with some important things to know about childhood cancer. What would they be, just from an education perspective?
Well, the first thing is childhood cancers are very highly curable. They're unlike other cancers. They're not caused by lifestyle. It's an accident, I think, that these children fall ill. And unfortunately, in our country, diagnosis is often delayed. Otherwise, they're so highly curable that I think the focus should be there. They are, after all, the future of our nation.
So what you're saying is it's a bump on the road. However, what's important is that you get them timely treatment.
Absolutely.
And you don't see enough of that happening these days.
Unfortunately, I think there are very few large treatment centers in our country. And not everybody makes it there for various reasons, which we can discuss. And it's as much as timely, it's completing the treatment. You know, treatment is expensive. And as I said, there are few treatment centers across the country, which means people have to travel to those places for treatment. So the associated expenses, travel to the treatment center, the expense of staying somewhere, getting decent food and so on, often causes people to abandon treatment. So the estimate is as much as the treatment costs are the associated costs. So it doubles the cost, and this is basically the difference between countries like ours, the low middle income countries, and the Western world, the developed countries, where the cure rates are up of 85-90%. Where in India, I think the number of children who actually make it for treatment is abysmal, so which reduces the survival rate considerably.
What a pity. So what resources are available for children undergoing cancer treatment at St. Jude's in particular?
St. Jude's provides first and foremost free accommodation, safe, secure accommodation. And it's not just accommodation, it's not just a roof over a head. It's holistic support. We treat these children like members of our family. And in fact, these are our family. And we provide them a very, very cheerful atmosphere. We provide them nutritional support. There's a kitchen where the mother can cook, because maa ke haath ka khana is obviously what any child would want during, particularly when the child is unwell. So we provide the dry ingredients and the mother can cook what the child wants to eat. We also have facilities for education. We have teachers who see that these children don't drop out of school. We have some kind of, it's more theme-based, but at least it keeps their mind into education. So when they go back post-treatment, treatment is prolonged. They need to be actually sometimes for 6 to 8 months, sometimes longer, which means they are taken away from their normal routine. And that's what we try and give them. We have activities for them. We have recreation, take them on outings and things like that. We have counselors who not only counsel the parents, but the older adult children also are counseled. We have, you've seen the flowers. There are various other things that the parents are trained with, which it helps them when they go back home.
And where is the facility here in Mumbai City? Is there one solitary facility, or do you have multiple ones?
We have at several places. The idea is to be close to treatment centers. So in Parel, we have our first center is actually in Lower Parel, not too far off from the studio, in Maskar Hospital in the BDD Chols, where our founders, Mr. and Mrs. Kaviratne, started the first center in 2006 for 8 families. And the idea was to see how it, the difference it made. And the difference was so dramatic that the doctors actually facilitated our subsequent centers. We can accommodate 30 children and their parents in Parel, in the Indian Cancer Society building, very close to Tata Hospital. Near Global Hospital, we were given by the Verma Trust space for 11 families. That is in the Parel area, which is close to Tata Memorial, Wadia and KEM, where our children normally come from. Yeah, ACTREC is the complex that Tata Memorial has in New Bombay in Kharghar. We have facility for 41 children there, including 5 units which are specific for children undergoing bone marrow transplantation. So those are extremely, they're isolated. They're given a lot of special care for that because they're very, very immunocompromised. Again, our largest complex was through the CSR project of the Bombay Port Trust, who gave 3 buildings at Cotton Green to Tata Memorial, who again, knowing the impact our work has on pediatric cancer, actually has given the property to us. And we have created 14 centers for 165 children and their parents there. That's our biggest in the country.
Wow. Whitesnake, here I go again on my own. St. Jude India Childcare Centers. We're talking about that with Usha Banerji. She's CEO. And see you in a couple of minutes. This is Whitesnake. Here I go again on my own. Usha Banerji, who's CEO of St. Jude's Childcare, and we're talking cancer care today. Pediatric cancer care has brought me these lovely flowers. These are paper flowers which are made by the survivors, the children, and I'm really touched by this. Okay, we're live audio all across the nation online on www.onecast.in. That's numeral 1cast.in. We're on Mumbai radio sets on 94.3 Radio 1 on the FM band. And only if you're not driving, statutory warning, if you're in the backseat of a chauffeur-driven car or a radio taxi, or you're at home or at the office without a radio set, then we're streaming video live, and the video is live right now on facebook.com/radio1.mum, RADIOONE.mum. More conversation with Usha Banerji.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
So talk to me a little more about the kind of cancers that are prevalent, what parents need to take cognizance of, and you ran us through this wonderful list of centers that you're actually helping, bolstering. How can we help?
Spread the word. Childhood cancers are largely leukemias. That's blood cancer, lymphomas, and there are solid tumors like bone cancer, brain, eye, and so on. The leukemias, I think in our country, are about 40-50% of the children, and they need extreme care during the treatment because they're very, very immunocompromised. What does happen is when a child has fever for a while, and I guess in a city one goes to a doctor early enough and gets a blood test and the diagnosis can happen in time. But by and large, unfortunately, in our country, people would begin by taking whatever they have at home, going to the local doctor who may decide it's malaria, typhoid, without actually making a diagnosis. By the time they find out it's leukemia, which is basically through a blood test, there may be a time lag. It does not make that much of a difference in treatment, unless it's an extremely aggressive form. But when people come from villages, the whole process, I think, of accepting that something like this has happened, the fact that the word cancer is associated with death, unfortunately, in our country, it sort of causes a delay in them reacting to the situation. Then there is the process of where do we come, where do we stay, how do we take care of this, different language, different place, don't know anybody, and what the expense that the whole process would involve. So yes, these are the issues that the parents face, but in a city, we have centers in Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Hyderabad and Jaipur, and starting soon in Vellore, Guwahati, looking at Chennai, Chandigarh. And these are all places which have very good treatment facilities and which is where people throng, and what happens at places like Tata Memorial is people are literally living on the pavement outside. And which means you're susceptible to more infection, you're discharged from hospital. The hospital, for example, gets about 2,000 to 3,000 children patients every year. I'm talking of Tata Memorial alone. And they have inpatient facility for less than 50. So the idea is you treat, you discharge and bring them in again when they need treatment. Unless it's surgery, when of course they're admitted for a duration of time, or the treatment requires them to be admitted for a duration of time. So where would they go if they don't have relatives? And very frankly, to stay 6 to 8 months, even at a relative's place or stay in a hotel, is out of the reach of most people. So they're often in a dharamshala, they're often on the footpath, and which is where St. Jude comes in. We provided, as I said, we provide free accommodation and complete care. These children are children heaven forbid, if any of our children in our families would be ill, we give them exactly the same kind of support that we would give them. The other kind of cancers are, as I said, solid tumors, and they would, for example, if it's bone or soft tissue, it would be noticed first as a lump, and or there could be pain. Pain, I think, is actually not really the first step. It's when it's grown large enough that there is pain. And sometimes they think, oh, he was playing cricket, he hit himself, and it's nothing to be, looked into. Sometimes solid tumors are detected later than blood cancers purely for these reasons. And they tend to metastasize, go to other parts of the body, which makes treatment a little more difficult than blood cancers. But having said that, I think the chemotherapy part of it is not as aggressive as it is for blood. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really. The kids do suffer. But being kids, they're extremely resilient. And I'd just like to say it in one sentence. They're children first, and they just happen to be suffering from cancer. So we try and restore their childhood. We try and see that they, that the treatment aspect of it is minimal in the day cycle as far as they're concerned.
Do you also do videos and sensitize parents and them, because everything's gone digital now and you need the audiovisual medium?
Yes, we do. Actually, we began with a book which was started, as I said, by Mr. and Mrs. Kaviratne. The first group of people who got together with them were their friends and family. Younger people. The Kaviratnes had just retired and come back to India. He was with Unilever for a number of years and spent his entire career there, I think, and wanted to do something. And to cut a long story short, saw this was an unmet need. But put together people of the next generation, people who were in their 30s and 40s, because people of his generation said, this is India, things like these don't happen, you'll live in a pipe dream. It's difficult to, where will you get the space? Where will you do what you want to do? So they put together a band of young people and said, this is the idea, this is what we want to do. And the organization grew from there. So 2 of our team members, as we call them, their daughter actually ran the marathon, raised funds, and also put together a book with the help of the doctors, which was a parent's guide. Extremely popular. We've had it translated into many languages. It's now a phone app. It's available, basically on the Play Store. And it's now been, now we have smaller videos which talk about nutrition or infection control or care or side effects of cancer. So all these are available online, and anybody in any language can, download them. So the idea is, when you come to the city, particularly in Delhi and Bombay, treatment at the hospital does not cost as much as people think they do, because there's a lot of support. There's a lot of financial support coming in. And there are organizations like us who help with other things, So it's the fact that you need to create awareness that, bring the child. We'll take care of what needs to be taken care of.
Lovely. Okay, so you have any questions or comments? It's one space your comment and name to 53650. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you go to the search bar, you type HRISHIKAY. You tweet out your comment or your question along with your name, or you post on the timeline inbox along with your name on facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. There again, any comment on the timeline inbox if you want to say something about pediatric cancer, care, if you're a parent, or you just want to comment on this interview and, reach out to Usha Banerji, please let me know. I'm happy to read it out on air. We're going to take some messages and come back. It's 9:37 and the CEO of St. Jude is in studio.
94.3 Radio 1.
Adele is rolling in the deep. Streaming live audio across the nation online on www.onecast.in. That's numeral 1cast.in. Radio 94.3 on the FM band right here on Radio 1. And only if you're not driving, we're streaming video now on Facebook at HRISHIKAY. That's facebook.com/HRISHIKAY. We've also tagged St. Jude's and tagged Usha Banerji, who's CEO of St. Jude's. More chat.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
Let me read out some wonderful messages. Dr. Ashish Contractor, great to hear you talk to Usha Banerji of St. Jude Childcare. I'm a huge supporter of the great work they do for kids with cancer. More power to them and the kids. That's Dr. Ashish. What's up, Doc? How you doing? How's the marathon? Rekha Bijoy Kumar, amazing work at St. Jude's. Great to see you and Usha talk about the center. You have to see it to believe the work they do. Gagan Mathur on Twitter. Great and noble work by St. Jude Child Cancer Care. The this interview is an eye-opener for the efforts by their team. Hats off to the Kaviratnes, the founders. Keep up the great work. So, yeah, all your supporters are quite thrilled about that.
Yeah, thanks Ashish, thanks Rekha, thanks Gagan.
Okay, now let's talk about a typical day for a family at St. Jude's.
Yeah, most of these families come to us through the hospital. You know, the doctors and social workers recommend that they come. And once they're in the center, we have an induction process to get them into the lifestyle of St. Jude's. And I'd like to believe that the lifestyle of St. Jude's is actually life-changing for them. They have a routine. They get up in the morning, get ready, go to hospital. The mothers do the cooking. They need to carry a dabba. You know, they're given everything they need. Everything, the pots, pans, right from a tea strainer to a bottle brush. Anything that they need during their stay conceivably is provided by us. They set off. We have a bus which takes them to the hospital. At a couple of our centers, we have the blood collection process which happens, which saves them, time and trip of going to the hospital. The ones who don't have treatment, who are not admitted or haven't gone for any specific to meet the doctor or for tests or whatever, we have activities for them at the center. We have teachers, as I said, so they have a theme of the month, and we recently had what we call a Lit Fest. The idea behind that was to wean them away from the mobile phone and getting addicted to the screen. We just felt that children are not doing what children should do, which is, getting a little exercise, interacting with each other, and participating in the fun and games and the studies that we organize for them. So the purpose of the Lit Fest was that. But there is something or the other happening for them every day. They have lunch. There's a nap time between 2 and 4 for the children. We may organize a talk for the mothers or some kind of activity during that time. The fathers also really. But we really like the mothers also to take a break from their routine. 4 o'clock they're up. There's milk and fruit or whatever, and then they're back to the studies if they are in the center. There's activities. The mothers, one of the things they learn to weave are plastic baskets, and that's a skill which many of them take back, and they can they send for wires from here and they sell them at their when they go back home, because these were something which I know as a child, it was very popular, and it sort of had faded away, and it's now back again. And I think Design One has a exhibition on today, and we have a stall there, and
lovely.
Yeah, so it's being exhibited over there. So like I said, this is what they do. Evening is again getting ready. Many of them need to sit in what they call a sitz bath, as part of the treatment protocol. And then it's dinner time, bedtime, lights out at 10. We have a sort of a routine for many reasons. One is the kids have to, be up. They need the rest. Secondly, once there is a routine in your life, the small things are taken care of. Each family gets a family unit where there's a bed, there are 3 mattresses, they have a shelf to keep their things in, they have a cupboard in which they can store their other personal belongings. And even the sequence of things on the shelf is sort of predetermined. The medicines go on the higher shelf, the fruit baskets on a particular shelf, the toiletries. It's just that you don't, sweat the small sweat. You don't look for things, because these are people under a lot of stress. So, you don't have to worry about the nitty-gritties. In fact, one of the fathers said to us that, the fact that we have meals at a fixed time has made it so easy for us to give the medication at the right time. If you don't eat when you are meant to eat, the medication will also get, not follow the schedule it's meant to. And actually that to us also came as an eye-opener. It's not something we had considered. For us, we just felt that if people have to live together, and these are people who come from all parts of the country, they come under a lot of stress. Financial stress is one major, because our support is for the needy families. It's for people who are being treated at no cost at the hospital. And so for them, to live like this can be a little, shall we say, difficult initially, because they feel they can't do it. But the women come into their own. They learn, because we have sort of nutrition lessons. They learn how to cook in a nutritious manner. They learn what is good for the child and what is not. They learn to keep their space scrupulously clean. And these are lessons they take back home. The other very, very important thing is they learn to live together like a family. We have a large community space where they're encouraged to spend most of their free time when they're not resting in the unit. And which part of the country you come from, what religion you practice, what language you speak is not even in the picture when it comes to something like this. We've had kids, who've come in and celebrated their first birthday there. And I remember once asking, you must be missing your family. You're away from home. They said, no, but this is my family. So it's a large family which lives together. Yes, there are sometimes differences which happens in any family. But ultimately what binds them is the problems they're facing. And they help each other. I mean, if somebody is admitted in hospital for a long time, we've known other mothers from their ration to cook the meal and carry it for the child and mother to the center, or sometimes the child typically prefers something which another mother has cooked, and they very happily share, it's what your mother has cooked is better than what my mother has cooked today, sort of thing.
So how does one reach you? How does this work actually, the process? Is it that somebody comes to Tata Memorial, for example, a lower income family, and Tata Memorial refers them to St. Jude saying, you're under a bit of stress financially, so maybe St. Jude's will help you out? Or do they reach you directly and you get in touch with the hospital, or is it a bit of both?
It is a bit of both, though more or less, we always take them after the hospital has actually registered the case, decided this is a case which is being treated, so we don't take them when it's not confirmed that it's cancer and they're going to be treated. And like I said, there's KM, there's Wadia, there's Sion in Bombay, and our children come from there. Bulk, of course, is Tata because it is the only specialized cancer hospital at the moment, which caters almost entirely to the poor. And they come to us. There is a very large social network, social service network, I should say, the social work department and the other organizations. And there is a regular, what they call the social service group meet once a week, where they decide what support a family needs. It could be a blood transfusion, it could be financial help, it could be help with accommodation and so on. So they're sent to that particular organization which does that. So they're sent to St. Jude's that way through the hospital. We run through an interview process, and we sort of try and instill in them, from the beginning they're told what they will have to the St. Jude lifestyle: no alcohol, no tobacco, no non-vegetarian, rules to be followed, and so on. So both parents are needed to stay with the child. And all this has been in conjunction with the hospital, whatever rules and regulations we've put into place. And so that the admission takes place based on that. And the other thing is any child who needs to come back, because you say after the initial treatment process, they need to come back for follow-up maintenance therapy, or they need to come back for checkup and so on. We guarantee them space because we don't want them not to come because they're not being supported or they don't get the space. And our staff actually follows up with them even once they've gone back after the first. Before they leave for the first time, there is a kind of an exit session with them, preparing them for what they would face, because they've been living in the safe, secure cocoon of care, So when you're out in the world, you don't know the attitude of the neighbors, the family, the school. So there is always that bit of, hesitation, and I think when they go back for the first time, they feel a little lost. So our staff follows up with them. We know when the doctor expects them to come back. We follow up at that time to ensure that they have booked the ticket and they will be back. Sometimes they don't have the money to come back. We said, listen, you borrow, we'll give you the money when it comes, but do not miss the appointment. Having gone through so much, do not miss your appointment with the doctor.
We're going to do some Two Princes Spin Doctors, and back with Usha Banerji, CEO of St. Jude's. She's going to tell us about International Childhood Cancer Day, which incidentally is tomorrow. The Spin Doctors, Two Princes, Usha Banerji, CEO of St. Jude's, is in studio. We're talking child cancer care and more. Thank you for your overwhelming response. More messages.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
Pratik Shah, superb work. He says, Ankit Desai, thank you very much. Suhail Merchant, thank you Hrishikesh for having such wonderful individuals interact with us and sharing poignant health issues. May wonderful people like Usha ma'am be blessed with strength to inspire and keep their efforts strong in bringing about a change in society. That's really nice of you, Suhail. Thank you very much. Vijay Venkatesh, your guest today, Usha Banerji, is a much admired peer in cancer care. Wonderful listening to her on 94.3 Radio 1 and your show. What she is doing through St. Jude's for pediatric cancer patients is admirable, much needed. Rajiv Chilladurai, pediatric cancer is a conversation close to my heart. Given the journey we're walking as a family over the last 2 years, great work St. Jude and Tata Memorial Hospital. We contribute a portion of our revenue to this cause. Great conversation. Thanks very much, Rajiv. Kavita Overlekar, where can I read more about them? tuned in late might have missed it. Yep, that's exactly what I was going to ask her next. And Rodney Lobo, St. Jude's Way of Living, post it. Absolutely, Rodney. Thank you for going on Twitter and saying that, because we are going video live now on Twitter and Periscope at HRISHIKY. Still streaming audio online across the nation, www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in, and 94.3 Radio 1 on your radio sets. So, where can people reach you? A website, if they want to volunteer, what is the process? If somebody wants to donate, what is the process?
Yeah, well, our website is stjudechild.org. That's stjudechild.org. They can donate online. We also have a form where they can fill if they want to contribute in any way, volunteer, work with us, and so on. So the website is, we are also on Twitter, Facebook, etc. St. Jude India is the Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And yes, the more people who share, the more people who like, the more our children would benefit.
Lovely. So what is the training process like for the volunteers? Do you get doctors to speak to them? Do you get nurses to speak to them? Do you get counselors to speak to them?
For the people who want to work
want to work and volunteer, because
volunteer
you did say
yes.
that you have these constant sessions whereby you're counseling the parents,
That's right.
Do you take them to specialists, or do you have permanent volunteers at the center?
Yeah, we have counselors who come in. We have a lot of, like I said, the organization was set up by a group of volunteers. So the volunteer body is actually stronger than the workforce. I mean, we have a lot of volunteers in all the cities. We have international supporters who work with us and so on. And yes, they do have a training, and while our support is not medical, the doctors are not really involved in the process, but we have an infection control nurse on board, and there are certain do's and don'ts that volunteers are meant to follow, which is part of our volunteer induction program. There's a lot of information about us that we find on they would find on our website. And actually the idea is, whatever you want to do should be something which we consider beneficial for the child and for the families. So yes, we are happy to have people work with us, provided it fits into what the kind of work that we're doing for the children.
Okay, tomorrow's International Childhood Cancer Day. What's happening? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, International Childhood Cancer Day is being set in countries. It's actually a way to create awareness about childhood cancer. Earlier this month we had International Cancer Day, but this is a specific day for children with cancer. And it's to create awareness about the need of bringing children into treatment, finding better cures, instilling hope, adding to the supportive care that children need, the associated care. Like I said, it's not just the treatment, it's the holistic support that children need. A good place, a cheerful place to stay, mind to be distracted, hygienic surroundings, safety, and nutritious food, of course, convenience of every sort. So all that, it's emphasis on that, to see that the child does not lose out on her or his childhood, just to see that the child gets what it is, and people are aware that this is something that can be worked. I think in our country, the amount that's spent on health is abysmal. I think 1% GDP goes towards health. There was a conference last year, and the idea was to raise it to 3.5. One hopes that with that there would be more funds diverted towards, finding better care for children with cancer. As I said before, they are our future, and what we invest in them is what we will reap. Many of our children over the past 11 years have finished school. Some have gone into paramedical courses, some have become engineers, one or two. I think one boy has become training for a company secretary. So it's a matter of great pride for us, that these children, I think their horizons opened when they were with us. They knew what options could be available for them, and they've gone out and achieved that.
Lovely. So in particular, let's say at your Bombay Port Trust facility, the largest facility you have, what are celebrations going to be like tomorrow?
Yes, I think there would be a lot of fun and games for the children. We have 2 or 3 big celebrations in the year, including St. Jude's Day in October. So
you do? You have a St. Jude's Day?
St. Jude's Day in October, yeah. So, so for the kids, I think this is one more fun time. So there would be. I mean, the emphasis is on the kids, to sort of get them to understand that they're very, very special to us.
Lovely. Okay, a last leg. We're going to say bye-bye to her. So you're not going to hear us for less than 10 minutes because there are going to be some messages. So this is your last opportunity to get a message or a question in, like I said before. I'm saying one last time, 1 space your comment, space your name to 53650. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you go to the search bar, you type HRISHIKAY. I'll pop up, you tweet out along with your name, you post on the timeline inbox along with your name, and facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. Drop a comment or question on the timeline or inbox for Usha Banerji along with your name, and I'll bring it up on the show. So, see you in a bit. The CEO of St. Jude's is here. I'm Hrishikesh.
94.3 Radio 1.
Whitney Houston, Could I Have This Kiss Forever, along with Enrique Iglesias. Yeah, we're playing predominantly love songs. I'm really sorry, all of you who've been asking for love requests on the Radio 1 Facebook page. Mine is predominantly a chat show. So what Annie Arakkal is doing, who's our next presenter, is a show called Mumbai On Demand. So for 5 hours, she's just going to play all your requests. I'll try and squeeze in some post 10:30. Yeah, promise to squeeze in some. But if you want a full-fledged request show, that's that. You know, please understand, I can't break a serious discussion on cancer care to do that right now. But, you know, we will take cognizance of it. Okay, some more messages. For those of you who just tuned in, she's CEO at St. Jude's. We're talking child cancer care, pediatric cancer care. Usha Banerji. And Roma Pereira Talvar says, way to go, Usha. Cheers to St. Jude India Childcare Centers. All that you and your team do for children living with cancer across our country. Brilliant interview. Thank you, Hrishi. And on SMS, our 53650 SMS line, Shachi, your last 4 digits are 6788. Hey, Hrishikesh, I've been to St. Jude Center to read to the kids. The kids, the parents, the people who work there are a force to reckon with. More power, Shachi. Okay, gotta get Usha's comment on that.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
So there are people who are actually coming there and reading, but you made an important point off the mic, which I want to bring on the mic about, you know, the age groups of children. Some of the older children have different wants and needs.
Absolutely. Teenagers, preteens, you know, it's different from little ones who are innocent, who are not actually aware of what they're going through, except that sui lag raha hai, hospital ja raha hai kind of thing. And coping with the side effects in a very, very valiant manner. But with older children, I think more issues are there. There's body image issues. There are issues of what's going to come out of them, out of this. Are they going to pull out of it? So they need a lot of individual distraction, attention, and I think one-to-one peer, companionship. If there are youngsters who are willing to come in, or even people with time, talk to our older kids on a one-on-one, but on a regular basis. There are kids who are out of school but would like help with math and would like help with English and so on. So if people have the time to come and work with these kids on a one-on-one basis, I think it'll boost their morale a great deal. I'd also like to say that there are a number of organizations who are working in cancer care, and tomorrow being International Childhood Cancer Day, I mean, it's hats off to everybody, and particularly now we've all sort of a pretty well integrated group of people. There are a lot of organizations doing very, very niche work, while ours is in a way niche because it's accommodation and it's holistic care for people staying with us. There are people who are, like Cuddles, for example, focused entirely on nutrition. There are other organizations which sort of also help with accommodation, Access Life and so on, who provide excellent support to families. There are other organizations within the hospital which help with finances, emergency funds and so on. So there is a lot happening, and the best thing is people are working together. Working in silos is now not as common as it used to be a few years ago. The enemy is cancer, the cause is one, and these are our children, and I think we will celebrate International Childhood Cancer Day together.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, for people who've tuned in late, just give out the website again and what you are on social networking.
Yeah, it's stjudechild.org and St. Jude India on Facebook and other handles. And
stjudechild.org and St. Jude Child, right?
St. Jude Child are the other handles, but St. Jude India is the Facebook page. St.
Jude India, and they're fairly active, so you can drop a message there or get onto the website. Usha Banerji, thank you. A morning well spent in studio. Thank you very much for rolling by. Keep up the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hrishi, for this opportunity to reach out to all your millions of listeners. Thanks a lot.
Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. Incidentally, we just went live on Instagram at HRISHIKAY, and if you want to go check out the video and you're not driving, then you can go on to Insta and you will catch his story, small little story, where I'm doing the bulk of the talking, and Usha's just managed to squeeze in hi, and of course a full live session of her talking and saying all the wonderful things she's said. Taylor Swift and back.